message and understand. If you choose to, like the video, subscribe if you would like to. Nobody's going to force you, but thank you for watching this video, and thank you for tuning in into another spell casting that comes from music. And this video is being made because, well, of course, somebody requested it. So not somebody, but a goddess requested this video because when I seen the title, of course, it's basically Adam living in a theoretical, opinionated choice of words that our atoms decided to come up with to evolve its mindset into what we are today. Let's get into this. We're going to dissect these lyrics because it goes deep into a PowerPoint that we have to present for this video as well.
These songs too, some of them, you know, they didn't even really have titles yet, you know, so if you have any suggestions, just, you know, raise your hand, because, so I call them like a line in the song, you know, this one, we refer to as Adam lives in theory, and when I refer to Adam, I'm really speaking about all of humanity, you know, without exception of anybody, you know, and I know that.
And that's it. So that right there. So the thing is too with this song, if you haven't heard it, go hear it. But referring to Adam, and that's the thing too, we gotta understand history, because we don't have to go deep into that, but when it comes down to history, a lot of times many people don't understand that a lot of these man-made concepts come from man-made perspectives or opinionated opinions, because majority of these people who you can just call them Europeans, if you want to go back into your lineage, not shitting on Europeans, but the fact that they came up with their own language due to them having their own titles, because they were entitled to their own opinions subconsciously. So because of that, they decided to throw around different enlightenments to the points where gods had to go around calling themselves Adam and believing it's theoretical perspective that came from somebody's atoms evolving into itself. Now, of course, when it comes down to science as well, they were mocking both of these perspectives. Not only doing that, they are mocking the infinite compassion for Almighty God. Basically, they're basically throwing shit in God's face, because they're telling them, man, fuck all that creation story, fuck what people believe, fuck the spiritual way, whatever way people came up with. No, we're going to come up with our own hypothesis for how cells became what it is today, because we came from somewhere. So we use science somehow, some way. We are able to do what? Experiment on how this is able to be a theory, because through humanity, this is a theoretical perspective that we are living in. So Adam and Eve do not exist because you are Adam evolving every single day. So who are you becoming as a man or a woman? Now, of course, they won't tell you about the truth of Adam and Eve, which is why this video is being made anyways, because it goes even deeper to that. And there's so many perspectives and videos that I could make on this that it wouldn't make any sense, because it's all a rabbit hole. And these titles are placed upon your subconscious thoughts for you to believe that you are Adam and Eve. But who is that if you were to go and walk up to them?
A lot of the content in the songs is very heavy, you know, but see, fantasy is what people want, but reality is what they need. And I've just retired from the fantasy part because I realized that
that's facts right there, because for one, fantasy is what people want, but reality is what they need. And the thing is too, the fantasy you want for your reality is nothing but a facade anyway. So the reality is what they need. That's like, for example, with reality, it's like, yeah, you say that people need reality, but the thing is that when people figure that reality out, it's still going to be a fantasy the way it goes. So, but I like that though. I'm retired from the fantasy part, because a lot of people still live in their fantasy. But the sad thing about it is, and the thing is, no matter what, whatever you create as your reality will still subconsciously be your insanity by it being your fantasy, because you are living in a delusional pattern of your habits that you practice every single day. Because your mind is formed this way and it's programmed in a certain algorithm, you're going to constantly keep on doing the same exact program that makes you satisfied, that makes you happy, that makes you smile, that makes you feel comfortable in your lie. So you'll be lying for the rest of your life. So for example, you tell yourself, oh, I want to be 250 pure muscle, but it's like you're lying to yourself by saying that. So every single day you will have an image of what that 250 looks like, and then you're going to work out every single time, every single day, hopefully not every day because you'll kill yourself, but you're working out at an efficient rate to the point to where you will see yourself in your mind, you will visualize a scenario to where you are actually that built, and you can envision it every single day when you are lifting weights, which is exactly why that fantasy part, we're all going to live in it, because somebody wants to be a fashion designer as well. They can see themselves putting their logo on the back of pants or in the front of pants, or making shirts, making jackets, making sweatpants, making socks, shoes, whatever. People can see that, they can envision it, and they can taste that success that is going to come with them as they are developing their fashion designs. So the thing is, we're all going to live in our delusional reality combined together. So what is a fantasy when we're all going to live in it, while it is a part of our actual reality that we are living in through our illusional perception of our delusion?
Y'all gonna make me cry. Adam lives in theory, trying to turn stone into bread, masquerading like he's got it figured out. Cut off from the sunshine, only smart in his own head, leaving his descendants to hold it down. Left to his devices, those worthless sacrifices, praying to.
All right. We had to dissect. We gotta dissect. I do apologize, but we gotta dissect this. Alright. So, now for one, I had to give her credit as well. But, let's go and get into this. For one, I don't want to do the presented way, because now I put this slideshow right here because, for one, when she was stating that, you know, turning stone to bread, actually, no. Before I do that, let me go back. All right. So, yeah, let me dissect that. Then I'm going to go into the PowerPoint. Yeah, let me do that first. Okay. So, trying to turn stone into bread. For one. If you just think about it. Now, so for one, she already spoke facts. Adam lives in theory, meaning that atoms are living in their own theoretical simulated pattern, because they're vibrating fast. They're vibrating at a certain rate that we can't comprehend, but yet they have sped up their mindset to the point to where they're forming a lifestyle beyond the first dimension, meaning that as we think right now, as we move, as we talk, as we breathe, as we lay down, as we give hugs, whatever, all these different atoms in our cells and our bodies, they believe that we are doing these things. They believe that we are feeling what these different material possessions in this world feel like. We think that we're talking, we think that we're blinking, we think that this is really life. People are born here and people feel as if everything that they see is reality. But what is reality to the Almighty, when the Almighty made this dominion that we live in? And people are accustomed to being comfortable in their oblivion, not knowing that's the reason why you went through a rebellion. Because whose belly are you in? When you in the belly of the beast, as the beast. Off the muscle, we live in a theory. You are Adam and Eve. And of course the man has to go first. When in reality, you have to switch that backwards. The woman comes first, obviously, because a man did not just sit here. For one, if God was a gender, it would be a woman. So of course people say that Eve came from Adam's rib. First of all, my brother and my sister, women are giving life out of their womb. Not only that, by you, it's a circle of life no matter what. You're going to always come to a mother. So by that happening, that's the pathway from your higher self coming down into your lower self to find your higher self and your lower self to pass it right back down. So you live in your mom's theory. So this man believes that he was a man from his mom. But who made Adam and Eve when they have no mom or dad? Who made Adam and Eve when they were born with no fault, with no parents, according to the story. They just popped up and here they were. Atoms and their cells, or actually the cells in general, evolved and yet they pretend to be human. Who made that story up? How do cells pretend to be human when a human does not know what it's being? Trying to turn stone to bread, got so bored to the point to where he felt as if him working, him putting himself to work with no meaning in life because he didn't really have a purpose, because there was no, what's the word I'm looking for? There was no objection. There was no perspective. There was no indication on what he wanted to do with himself, because of course, what is there to do? There is no such thing as jobs, video games, board games. There's no such thing as school, TV. He's just in nature. He's just in life. So he puts himself to work, probably just chopping down wood, probably just harvesting food. So he's turning all of this stone and probably building too, because I'm pretty sure there was wood and all that he could make out of the house. Whatever that he did in the first human trials, he's turning that into bread. So by him doing that, he feels as if once he's done, he can feed Eve, whatever the case may be. But now doing that, he pretending like he got it figured out. Because realistically, my brother, you don't have it figured out because you were faking a facade that you were living in. That's exactly why you were masquerading like you had it figured out, because you didn't. And that's exactly why Eve, or Lilith, she left you for Lucifer, to find out his enlightenment and what he was bearing, because she wanted to see the good in him, because she couldn't see the good within herself, because you couldn't do enough. And then she felt bad for the problems that you bestowed upon her. But of course, women have no accountability, and that comes from our evolution through our feminine aspect, because it's both a combination of male and female combined together. So Elohim, so God is plurals, meaning that they were in contact with higher deities, telling them what was going to happen. They forgot about that once they pretended to be human beings. Because what is a human being when it's on trial? Cut off from the sunshine, enlightenment. Cut off from enlightenment, the light bearer, living in ignorance. Because for one, Adam and Eve, you and I, so me as a man, you as a woman, we didn't even know we were naked. So we ate these psychedelics or the apple. Because was it really an apple? No, the apple is realistically, the apple's nothing but simulated codes calling itself cells to make itself be in a form of an apple. But that's the cheat code for the apple to make sense out of its formless meaning of life. So we blame an apple that think about that. The story got so bad, we blame Satan as a scapegoat and an apple as a scapegoat as well. Because we said, you know what, let's make this story make sense. It was an apple. How is that? For one, we eat apples in our markets and shit. They're not real apples. So to the God watching this for the future, we have apples that do not have seeds in them. And what's crazy, they can have seeds in them and they're still not good for you. Why? Because our government has tainted what the soil, and what do I mean by government? Either way it goes, a controlled opposition has tainted with the pure soil and the purity of these natural fruits that we are supposed to be harvesting and harboring for the rest of our beings and our existence. So to replace that, they have gave us fast food. So when you grow up watching this, young men and young women, that fast food that you think is good is not good for you, my brother, my sister. Get yourself some fruit. You'll be able to understand that you are in your own head. You're only smart in your own head, because what head are we thinking with? That's exactly why people operate off of lust, because they can't think with this head. Their lower self thinks for them, and to where they go chase after the other lower self to a feminine perspective, and it ends up getting them killed. It ends up getting them broke, homeless, and ends up getting them wanting to be, enslaved to a woman's mindset, living up under her wing. And then when she kicks him out, he has nowhere to be. He can't call his mom because he has no mom to go back home to. Dad probably in jail. Dad probably dealing drugs. Dad probably just not in his life. That's what fucks up another nigga. So therefore, cut off from your own sunshine, meaning that off the muscle. Adam is the reason. The first human trial, the first prototype of a consciousness forgot that you came here for a reason, but yet you were moving with your dick, because Adam and Eve were not the first people there in the Garden of Eden anyways. And the PowerPoint will explain that afterwards, but I gotta dissect these lyrics because this is only just the first part, and she's already speaking facts. So that's how deep this shit really get. And I don't have to go deep into that, but some people only understand Adam and Eve from a surface way of thinking. But leaving his descendants to hope and doubt, meaning that once again, she's already telling you that in the Garden of Eden, which is inside of your mind, because you are basically the universe inside of your own mind. Because of that, you make reality define it to itself by you being within yourself. By you going within yourself, you left your people in the Garden of Eden, wherever you were, because the Garden of Eden is basically inside of your home, because you are home to yourself. Because of that, he left to hope and doubt, because he hoped to get himself better, because he doubted himself too much. Not only that, and what's crazy, this is basically Romeo and Juliet. This is all a love story as well. It's exactly why people are confused with love and what they think love is, and left to his devices, those worthless sacrifices. And it's like, I'm being lazy. I'm being lazy. It's like, I don't want to talk fast, but it's like I'm talking fast. Like, slow down, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't be lazy with it. Okay. Left to his devices, those worthless sacrifices. Meaning that whatever he was doing, so he could have been making bricks, he could have been nailing something, he could have been doing whatever. So all the things that he had, they were basically a worthless sacrifice for where he was going. So he sacrificed his past self to find a better self for him in the present moment. So you as a man, you can leave your girl, leave your PlayStation, your dog, all those memories, the clothes, you left that right back at her crib, whatever, or she threw you out. So now those things you're sacrificing to find a better you, because if you leave those things behind you and you get some new clothes, some new shoes, you know, a new shape up, you get yourself a new, you know, cologne smell, you get yourself a new haircut, you get yourself a new, you know, skin treatment, a new job, you get a new opportunity in life, a new house, just a new career in general, a new car, new family. You get the point. Once you build yourself up, you don't worry about that PS5 no more, because now you own 5 of them already. What's crazy, you own PlayStation or you own Sony, just for example, hypothetically speaking. But when you leave those devices behind, you're still remembering a part of you, because when you sit in your room by yourself or you're driving where you're just thinking, those things that you left behind are still a part of you, because you're still remembering yourself in that experience, because everything is an experience living in itself. So like a remote, for example, a remote does not know it's a remote, but men came up with this thing to make it have life, to make it have meaning. So this remote is having an experience. When I turn it on, when I turn it off, it feels as if it's on or off, because you put batteries into it. But without the batteries, without the heart, or without the consciousness, without the stream of consciousness through energy, if I remove that from this battery, will it still turn on? Will it still turn off? No. That's exactly why we were cut off. In the beginning, we were cut off from our enlightenment, and we became unconscious by eating psychedelics, if you want to call it that. Not only that, once we ate it, it's like, think about how, oh yeah, I can go to the PowerPoint too. When we ate it, think about how far we descended in our own spellcasting. Sheesh. Alright. I just wanted to provide this right here too, because this is crazy. And of course, contradict everything, question everything. Some got my eye. It's okay though. In the scientific disciplines of physics and chemistry, atom is a material unit of matter, the smallest unit of an element, consisting of a dense central and positively charged nucleus which is surrounded by a system of electrons equal in number to the number of nuclear protons. Atom, which is you, the symbolic and personalized traditional story of the first man and progenitor of mankind, in accord with varied versions of stories about human development or the genesis of humanity on the planet Earth. Adam had a navel, belly button, a universal birthmark, meaning that he came from a woman. So who was the mother of Adam? Or you? Who was your mother? Literally. So the thing is, there is no, who is the mother of Adam? Who's the father of Eve? Who is your mom? Who is your dad? Literally, like, this birthmark is telling you that you are still connected to the divine. That's exactly why they go after the children, because they are the closest to the divine before society assaults their mind. And then once they cut this cord off, you're no longer connected to the Almighty God. Now you're a part of God, but what God are we talking about? Truth be told, actually, what gods are we talking about? The story about Eve, the feminine principle as coming from Adam, which is you. The masculine principle is a traditional storyline used in ancient times to introduce children to the divine laws of nature, with the expressions of the masculine and feminine principles as manifested in the zodiac. The masculine and feminine principles are reflected in all of the planets of our solar system and within the forces of nature. Adam is of the science, Adam is of the children's story. But what truth is there to that? Eve is expressive of evolution. We already stated that. Adam is expressive of the smallest building block, Adam. Billy combined together, so it's a mockery. The story is a mockery of what you already know about yourself. Genesis means the coming into being of anything, the origin, the creation, the birth, etc. And the thing is too, with the creation story, I need to make a video on that too, but with the creation story, that story in itself doesn't even make any sense. Because, for one, how can the creator have a creation story when there's many people giving their opinion on the creation story? No one is right. Even if they believe they're right, I'm lying to you by saying that, but even if they believe that they're right, they're still wrong for saying that. Because every day there's a creation story. So it's a multitude of stories. That means that these are experiences. So Genesis was an experience of you coming into anything or being of anything when you were nothing. Meaning every single day you were born into nothing. But how can you make anything out of everything by you doing something when you were born into nothing? Because nothing is something and anything is everything. So how will you live your life doing everything you can to make something out of nothing? The Lord and Baal, we got God. Understand that God is a title based upon consciousness. And this is where this enlightenment came from, which is Luciferians. On top of that, this is what they worship. These entities are the ones that are calling themselves God, because they're going to call it plural as well, but they're calling themselves God because, of course, and in the Bible, they're talking about themselves as well. And the thing is, too, if you guys want to take a screenshot of that, you can. I don't even got to read into that, because at the end of the day, we know that this is symbolism for you. Like, none of the information actually matters. So it doesn't matter how deep we go into this rabbit hole. This is all about you. It's been about you since the day you came out your mom's womb. They are trying to enslave you with anything. So all this that we're reading does not matter to the Almighty in the afterlife. Alright. So you read the Bible. The Lord, Baal, meaning that heaven, hell, you could say subconscious or conscious mind, subconscious mind as above, so below. So the man in the upper part right here, or the upper part of the body, or I'll say the head right here in the lower part, which is really sometimes it'll have the booze or whatever, got the Kundalini energy arising from your subconscious to your higher self. And of course too, sometimes they'll have a picture or a symbol of the Baphomet standing on the top of Earth's consciousness, or the subconscious mind. And because basically people are praising this deity right here by calling it God, because what God are we talking about? Exactly why it has wings as well. And then if you see the pentagram right here, you got spirit, earth, air, fire, water combined together right here for your consciousness. Either way it goes too, it's a symbol. So the thing is too, the Baphomet's neither good nor bad, but the deities use it to invert the minds of perversions, and they try to spread perversion upon their inverted reality, because their mind has been inverted since birth. Because the beings, I can say beings too, the beings and the deities pray to this entity, but they're worshiping Satan behind closed doors. But the thing is though, God is Satan, but contradict everything, question everything. That's how deep the spell goes into. And basically when you go into that enlightenment, if you can't comprehend that, you'll never be free from your own mental enslavement. It's just that simple. Because God would never call itself God. So what God are we talking about? Because I promised to the Almighty Creator. You see how I said that? Because it's titles now. When it comes to the etymology of titles, you have to understand the origins and where they come from. So when it comes to titles, to the Almighty Creator, if I was to spiritually be in line and ask it one question, what is your name? I would not expect an English language answer. I wouldn't expect an answer from a verbal spell casting, or from a caster anyways. I wouldn't expect a spellcaster to tell me that. Why? Because it does not come from a higher enlightenment. You have to be subconsciously ignorant to comprehend language. and then make meaning of it when there's no meaning behind it. Shit crazy. So cover the name of your creators, or over the name of your creators, Yahuwah. You have been praying to me for over 2,000 years. What is this right here? Actually, we can get over that one later. We don't want to worry about that one. So, and the thing is right here, we can see the European Union, globalization, and world order. And the thing is too, we are at the bottom of this pyramid as well. But Blue Lodge Masonry, Scottish Rite or York Rite Masonry, the Royal Art, Grand Sovereign Inspectors, 33rd degree, the same consciousness as your Messiah that he got crucified at, or the level, Supreme Council of Grand Inspectors, the Order of the Trapezoid, Ancient and Primitive Rites, Order Templi Orientis, the Palladium, the Illuminati, which does not exist, the Nine Unknown Men, the Seven, and On Sof Hour, whatever the fuck that is. It's 5:42 in the AM. Let's get into it. Understand, these are all conglomerates of corporations and shadow governments or entities. And the thing is, this is not really an accurate depiction because this is all illuminating fraternities. So the Illuminati does not exist, but it's the illuminating awakening of shining light on secret society. So these are all secret societies basically, and there's no ranking at who's the highest, because either way it goes, you and I will never be able to comprehend this shit. And that's exactly why I put this picture right here, because of course for occult knowledge, hidden knowledge held by the few. So by us understanding this, we are literally learning about occult knowledge right now, because you wouldn't know any of these people unless you have family members in them. And if you have family in any of these, then you'll be able to ask them about stuff, but they can't tell you because they signed an oath. So they signed an oath, that means that you would have to, it takes one to know one. And if you know one and you get in, then you understand the secrets that are held by the few of these fraternities right here, because at the end of the day, it's all to please a Luciferian agenda. On top of that, the word occult is derived from the Latin adjective hidden. So the things as well, this is hidden information, but the thing is though, you can't gatekeep knowledge because you are the gatekeeper of every fractal of knowledge basically, because it comes from you. Like you create knowledge because they can create knowledge, and they've been doing it since the beginning of time. But it's a bad thing when you create your own form of knowledge. We got exoteric, intended for or likely to be understood by the general public, current or popular among the general public, from the Greek adjective Greek, and then boom, and then esoteric, intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with specialized knowledge or interest, hidden, mysterious, beyond the range of ordinary knowledge, literally. And this is why a lot of people do not know information beyond their own perception of what they have learned in school or their job or what they learn on social media, because many people do not take the necessary precautions to learn about information outside the internet or outside of their phone, outside of movies, TV shows, books. Some people don't even want to experience an information anyway, so they're not even able to understand all of this shit right here, because these aren't even majority of the fraternities and sororities anyways that control the masses from an illuminating eye that you have as well. And if we go back to this, and I like that, it's not an original Masonic concept, and the thing is too, it's a mockery. I'm going to screw this up some more. That's all I can do. Okay, that's cool. So this eye right here, for one, we all have this. We all, like, if you open up all 24 of your eyes, even beyond that, beyond the third eye, if you go into higher dimensions in your mind, you are, once you reach you're awake to the occultic or the occultism and mysticism and hypnosis of consciousness. Once you awaken spiritually, once you arise and you go into a divine enlightenment within your mind, you reach the top of the pyramid, meaning that you are chosen to understand what is going on in reality. And once you stay quiet about it, you keep the oath, then you just keep on living life as you were doing, but don't tell anybody else what's going on in society, because it's all a game. Stimulation of consciousness. Field of consciousness carries impulses back to the brain and personality. Feedback impulse moves towards personality via septonic field of consciousness. And all these things are basically helping you understand that Even with pyramid, and that's the thing too, a pyramid, the top of the pyramid is basically the bottom of the pyramid as well. So if you go to Egypt and you see these pyramids, and they're saying there's a pyramid above that as well. But the field of consciousness carries impulses back to the brain and personality, meaning that at this level right here, this is basically sending an impulse to your brain, making you think that you're seeing what you're seeing, while all you're doing is seeing a barrier of energy that's basically, what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically enslaving your consciousness and sending you to a lower part of this right here. That's where majority society lives in with their mind, because they're not able to see how time does not even exist. Because it don't exist, you're not able to see the symbolism between the all-seeing eye. And when people do get that tattoo, they let you know that they're showing their allegiance to the beings that accepted them for being weird, if you want to call it that. So yes, the seed of the soul, and then you got all of that right there for this eye. Now, this is literally carbon, so relates to the carbon atom in man. Carbon 12, one of 5 elements in the human DNA is composed of 666. Flip that over to a 9, you get 9 ether beings. So for one, the beings that have, and we can't blame it on just Europeans, I love my Europeans as well, but the ones that are conscious, I'll say that, because if you're conscious, you know about skin color, I don't gotta go into that. But my unconscious Europeans that want to practice racism, I'm talking to you because you are ignorant. Not the white people who, not the Europeans who are already on a divine manner or a Christ frequency, but the Europeans that think that, you know, black people are this or whatever the case may be. You were enslaved into a different community that you don't seem to see through their own facade, and they own majority of your networks as well. But they demonize this right here, not knowing that this is nothing but your melanin. On top of that, if you are a 6 ether being, you have to go to the highest number, which is the 9. So that 999 aspect is still us, but you demonized that and flipped it and made yourself seem like you were at a higher legion of orders with your own actually your way of living. I don't say civilization, because you're not civilians, because you're not even people, but your own way of living. So basically, you took our own practices, our own magic, dark magic and light magic, you made it your own, and then you demonized it by saying that this is a bad, like this is the mark of the beast, whatever the case may be. You are the beast that marked other beasts. So yeah, we are a product of you, because without you, there will be no us. So by us running around here believing shit, we don't understand this is once again occultic knowledge, because some people do not understand that you will basically make up the chemical makeup of melanin. On top of that, it's the most abundant of the 2 stable isotopes of the element carbon. And so all the sorts of information available for us, ignorance in the 21st century is a choice, meaning that you choose to believe that none of this shit exists. You choose to believe that you are marked by Satan, or that you think that this means a demonic code or whatever the case may be. And when somebody thinks that this is demonic, they're not wrong for thinking like that, but they're not right either, because if you turn that upside down, you get 999. As a matter of fact, because it's that simple. All we can do is just go ahead and research it. Like, it ain't even that hard. Because some people want to overcomplicate things and they want to do their research. But you can just Google this, and I don't even trust Google anyways, because you are Google. Completion and new beginnings. It urges trust in the process of life, brings closure to the relationships and careers, and encourages reflection and growth. Embracing change, practicing non-resistance, and remaining open-hearted are key. Completion, new beginnings. The number of love, and advises you to focus on life and loved ones. But I don't believe that either. Either way it goes, I don't believe that. A gentle reminder from the universe to pay attention to your current state of mind and actions. So who demonized that? To focus on your actions? I mean, do we have to read it again? To pay attention to your current state of mind and actions. To pay attention to your current state of mind and actions. And it doesn't have to mean that, but you can make it mean whatever you want it to mean. But the thing is though, because you are a carbonated being, your default program is evil, if you want to call evil that, or if you want to call God that, because God is the evil. So put God and then boom, evil. Literally that simple. God is evil. But people don't understand that shit because they don't know that. No, come on. They don't know that. Hey, scoot over. There we go. Yeah, once again, they don't know that God is evil. They can't understand that's not God's real name. So off the muscle, this is all a theoretical perspective on Yahuwah or the Almighty Creator. Shit's sad, man.
Making pilgrimages, thinking he's religious, like he's got all the light and no one else. He takes the unsuspecting, cause he knows they're not connected, and he shows them how to be just as he is.
Alright, because I don't make this video too long, man, because, bro, we can make this junk. This goes deep. I mean, man, she's preaching, bro. For one, I am that I am, right? Alright. And Almighty God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, have sent me unto you. Literally, so basically, ignorance spoke to Moses, telling them, you feel me, I am that I am. Right? It doesn't matter what you think I am. So if you think I'm Satan talking to you subconsciously, so be it. Because either way it goes, that's the Almighty. So for one, if you were made, that's what you have to say as well if you want to call yourself God. If you know that you're God. If you don't know that you're God, how would you call yourself God? That's why you say I am that I am. Because either way it goes, God never needs to call himself God. You said, God? And so basically Moses said, God? I'm by a burning bush. Is that you? You're in your head, God. Or are you talking to yourself? Or you're talking to Satan with words. That's why so I am that I am comes from Satan's Luciferian enlightenment, meaning that Almighty God is Satan. But what God are we talking about? So therefore, if you're praying to the altar of yourself, you are literally praying to Baal. You're praying to the Lord. You're praying to the Baphomet. You are praying to Satan. Why does God have to pray to God? Why are you praying for a desire that you already have? Why are you praying for anything in this world when you are God, creating your universe with your mind? Everything is the mind. So why are you praying for it? Like, what does the word pray mean? Praying. That's the thing. They mock us through these titles. So you're praying for energy, and praying can be whatever you want it to be. But if you're praying, why are you closing your eyes? You can't receive gifts with your hands closed, can you? That's why if you just meditate and do things with your hands, it can be symbolism to, oh my God, it's demonic. But this is not demonic either. Imagine trying to receive a gift and you got your hands closed. Make it make sense. Making pilgrimages, thinking he's religious. So Adam felt as if he needs to have religion to get closer to God. That's a problem right there. Whatever pilgrimages means. So by him thinking that he's religious, he already fell in Lucifer's enlightenment. Excuse me. Because for one, God has no religion. Because of that, we fell down to a lower enlightenment, meaning that Satanists came, these different deities. So when I mean different deities as well, let's go to that. So I just put 10 because this is way too many. Anunnaki, which are the carbonated versions of us, Pleiadians, reptilians. So you Pleiadians and Nordics can be your Europeans as well. And of course your reptilians could be your Zionists, your Khazarian, or Khazarian. whatever case, if you want to say Jewish people, you can say whatever you want. Pleiadians, Syrians, Arcturians, Lyrians, Zetaractilians, Greys, Orions, and Andromedans. And I don't know what this is right here. I was looking at this right here. I was like, that might be like the model for our universe. I need to look into that. I see like stargates and density locks and dimensional locks. And I want to say these are different geometrical or symmetrical shapes within our reality, to where these different portal gates or stargates, portal gates as well. This is where deities are able to open up. I'm learning this shit right now. That's crazy. So yeah, if you get a model and you place it as a simulation, like a pancake, you're able to look down upon this right here, and you're able to lock different gates from opening and from deities leaving their enlightenment. So before Adam and Eve, we gotta understand that this was it was a threat. It was basically not a threat. Well, actually, it was a threat, but it's like a Uno reverse card in the game. Basically, I can get more people on my army than you can. So I bet you can't. Like, I bet you can't get more people in your army than mine. But we can bet on it. What you want to do? Say let's shake on it, and let's descend down from our consciousness. And that's the rule. We're going to learn who can do what unconsciously. So Almighty God has made a game with itself and turned it into a race. And because of that, now we got Stargate control, seduction and simulation of the human race in order to mutate 12D angelic DNA for 11D galactic DNA, other multiple agendas. And then you got astral tagging, overshadowing, mind control, religion control, governmental control, media internet control, falsified history, false ascension, channeling groups, ET abduction, UFO movement, love light seduction tactics, body snatching, new age movement, indigos, hijack, astral implant, and secret societies. And that's all that's on Earth. And the thing is too, there's way more than that. But the most interesting one, indigo hijack, by us being a part of the fallen angels of our mother, Kai and all that. These different beings right here are able to travel through different portals that come from the bottom of the ocean. So the thing is, they're basically going into the ocean, and what's crazy, they're in the ocean right now above our head. So they're above our firmament, and these are basically submarines as well, but we call them UFOs. So as they're traveling these different portals, that's when they're able to come up with stories, because they have been with each other for so long, and they're at war with each other as well for different resources, for different wars that have been going on their planet as well. So when it comes down to that, we gotta understand that he thought that he was religious, meaning that these deities are pretending to be Adam in his story right here. And by them doing that, he thought that in order for him to get closer to God, it doesn't make sense for him to not have a title placed onto it, because he felt like he was disrespecting his light bearer, or Lucifer. By them, they basically were talking to demons. They were basically praying to demons, praying to the altar of himself. So if you're praying to an altar, you're literally praying to Satan as well, because the Almighty God has no physical form. But I'm lying to you by saying that, because Satan does subconsciously, but the Almighty God is nothing but energy, so it's transparency. You see right through it. But of course, to comprehend that, we have to make a physical form out of our ignorance. Like he's got all the light and no one else, meaning that Adam was above himself. He was trying to reach Lucifer's enlightenment, because of course Eve, or Lilith, left Adam for Lucifer. And that's the thing, he was already getting ahead of himself. By him getting ahead of himself, he kicked himself out of his own garden for one. He was already talking to demons in his head. And by that, he was selling himself short, giving away his dignity to reach a higher enlightenment for occultic knowledge. Because of course, Solomon comes from these people. Like, many people come from the first cell anyway. So everything that's the first thing of any different extraterrestrial race, interterrestrial race, all these different deities are basically the first of whatever we call creation. He takes the unsuspected, meaning that nobody would really know what's going on with what Adam knows, but Adam has created a different system within his mind to make himself seem like he's above everybody else's mind as well, because he acted like he had all the light, because he was praying to himself, literally praying to the altar of himself. So he idolized himself. He was worse than a bitch, because he literally had chronic bitch dependency. Can't make this shit up. Like, he needed Eve, and he missed Eve so much he started praying to himself. He started loving himself way more. Is that bad for a man to love himself way more when a girl leaves him? But if you're doing this shit, thinking you're religious and you got all the light and no one else has light like you, now you're in a tunnel to where you are hurt beyond imagination. And so that's where this right here, the first Adam or whatever the case may be, has cursed our whole bloodline after that, because we could not heal from what we thought a woman was supposed to be in our life. Meaning that she was not supposed to be any title in our life, because you had to detach from things of this world, because she does not belong to you. She is a part of this world, my brother and my sister. And she's growing. When Eve left Adam for Satan for Lucifer, I mean, as Satan, bro, there was other women that you had, but you were so attached to her since the beginning that when it came to the ending of that relationship, you couldn't let go. So because of that, you decided to try to get better or try to get back. Because he knows they're not connected, and he shows them how to be just as he is. And the thing is too, and he shows them, but who is them? Them can be whatever we want it to be. But the thing is, though, it's a deeper perspective on that. Let's keep on going.
Virtually real and commercially appeal to the last of all the people where he lives. Evil so naive, blinded by the pride and greed, wanting to be intellectual, drifting from the way. She got turned down one day, and now she thinks that she's bisexual.
I mean, virtually real. And that's the thing. This video is basically over. Why? Because for one, you are a virtual character pretending to be real. You are a virtual character pretending to be real. Not only that, you live in a theory. These two lines killed the whole verse at this point. They killed the whole song. Like, it's over already. And some people still can't read through those lyrics. Virtually real. Adam believes that he's actually real in a virtual reality. But wait a minute. Fantasy is what people want, but reality is what they need. And people overlooked that. So she was spitting bars before the song even started. And people just clapped. But I realized that y'all gonna make me cry. Like, and she retired from the fantasy part, so she's spitting reality. But people don't see that, and they're just clapping. And she's like, y'all gonna make me cry. Because what are you crying for? They don't understand what you really mean. So it's just like, well, thank you for the applause anyways. I didn't say nothing. I thought y'all would figure it out, but nobody cares. Let me just sing my song. And commercially appealed. Literally commercially appealed, meaning look at what we have right now. All these commercials going on through social media, even on TVs. We have a bunch of men and women that are trying to be real through a virtual reality that doesn't even make any sense, because people deem this virtual sense of selves as real, but you don't know what real is because you're living in a fake world thinking that this shit is real. But nothing on the internet is real. Nothing in this reality is real in the first place, because no matter what, we believe to be picking up remotes to change the channel or to turn up the volume. But the thing is, that never happened, because all you're doing is turning yourself up to hear your ignorance some more. But if you mute the TV, you can't hear the TV. That's how wise you are. Even when you turn down the radio station, if you turn down the aux cord, if you turn down your phone, you're turning down ignorance to hear yourself and hear how wise you are. That's why some people sit in silence to basically hear their thoughts. That's how wise their overthinking is. To the lust of all the people where he lives. Eve was so naive, blinded by the pride and greed, wanting to be an intellectual. And that's the thing too. Who said lust was a bad thing? Who said our nature was a bad thing? How is being in your nature bad? They program you to say that it's a sin to have sex outside of marriage, not knowing that marriage is a sin, because you're still marrying Satan through Lucifer's enlightenment, and you have to sign a contract to be committed to this person. But this motherfucker wants to divorce you in 72 hours and take half of your shit. What you gonna do then? Would you get married again if somebody did you like that? It's like, ain't the day, it's a title. You believe to be married to your wife or your husband, but they're not really a wife or a husband, because there's some people who are married and they have affairs. There's some people who are married to their husband, but then when their husband makes them mad or whatever, they go and cheat with their coworker, or their husband's brother, or their neighbor, or whatever the case, or their friend that they met at the grocery store. Just because they're married to you don't mean that they actually gotta be committed to you. Because to commit is an act. Actually, to be committed is an act. And people can act however they want in their nature, in their lustful nature, because that's who they are, lustfully. Because lustfully, that's not them. And people want to be entertained for a temporary period of time. But once that temporary period of time and that fun is over, that's when they come to their senses. People move off of their lower selves. That's how powerful the subconscious is. That's how powerful the virtual mind is. The woman was so naive, blinded by the pride and the greed, meaning that she was blind by how greedy our pride was, or Satan or Lucifer's pride was. But it intrigued her because she wanted to be intellectual. She wanted to be like Lucifer. Drifting from the way she got turned down one day because she's still thinking about Adam, who lives in theory. So in Eve's mind, she's thinking about a man who never existed. That's, if we're talking about basically the beginning of Adam and Eve is a love story. That's how I'm getting it. If I'm putting two and two together, because drifting from the way she got turned down one day, and that's how I'm just interpreting how deep this song gets. Because how do you know that, Lauryn Hill? But it's a theory. But either way it goes, it's a great theory. So I'm just breaking down what she's saying, what I think she's saying. Shit. Adam turned her down because he was too busy doing what? Where's that picture at? I'm not going to read that yet, that Jacob's Ladder. But, so yeah, look at that. Jacob's Ladder, all that. But Eden, inside of you. So, when you understand that that's a part of you, the Garden of Eden is inside of you. It doesn't matter what you want to call your digestive system or your stomach, whatever the case may be, just your insides. Either way it goes, inside of you. That's literally what that picture indicates. It's all inside of you. So when Adam left her, or she left him, whatever the story wants to be, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a contradiction anyways. But when Adam left her, it's because he figured as if he could find better through himself. Because of course he's seen Lilith, he's seen Eve, which is, so basically Lilith is Eve's lustful state of mind. When she left him for Lucifer, it's because she was naive and she was just blinded by the pride and the greed. Because Lucifer had everything, Adam had nothing. He started from nothing. And so she found something through nothing. But that was still nothing because she wanted temporary pride and greed. Because she wanted to be intellectually pleased by pride and greed. That's why Jacob had a ladder. And she got turned down one day by her theoretical boyfriend that she had, which is Adam. And now she thinks that she's bisexual. So she feels as if now men ain't shit. And that's exactly why my nose so itchy, all these downloads, I guess. Man, this is crazy. But I do apologize for that. Most is just stuffy. Thinking she's bisexual meaning that men ain't shit, because for one, once you get down to men and fuckboys, basically, baby daddies, deadbeats, all of that, once you get into that, want to be intellectual, some of these men will use that against you. And so I'm pretty sure now she thinks she's bisexual. That to me just means niggas ain't shit. Because this man probably put his hands on you, he probably violated you, assaulted you, and now you just like, you went through so many experiences with that man, or men in general, because you probably went through so many men. Not saying that you're what some people call you, which is a hoe, but what is a hoe to a hoe? It's a gardening tool, but you know what a hoe is because you know what you're doing. But either way it goes, it's just experiencing. So like men don't want women to be hoes, but it's okay for them to be hoes. Male logic. Come on now, it's stupid as fuck. Either way it goes, once you understand, like, she thought that she was bisexual, meaning that she has probably went through so many experiences, and some women can relate to that because of Eve, my nigga. It's everlasting. It's evolution evolving itself every single day. So there was a multitude of atoms evolving together, men and women coming together. So basically, we were all practicing incest even back then, because if they were the first beings and they had kids, where do we come from? We just make it make sense. Because of that, now we got all our minds are just fucked up in general, literally and figuratively. And because of that, she's having sex with herself because she knows that the woman has went through what she went through. They can relate with each other, and they're feminine. So because of that, they can do what they choose to do, and that's what they want to be. She thinks that's a great program for them. That's exactly why. But that right there, deities that worship this had came up with that story, which is exactly why LGBTQ comes from these people who push these agendas behind closed doors, because they know that lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, whatever the case may be, they know that people who are in these, I'll say, industries, they know who's behind it, and they know what can get people in an uproar by pushing an agenda that makes you go against your past and make you be in your own delusion today. Because some people, once again, fantasy is what people want, but reality is what they need. And people don't know what reality even is, even if they live in it right now.
Caught up in emotion, burning up in her devotion to the king of exploitation in the field. She handed him her virtue, cause he told her I won't hurt you. So she lay with him to see how good it feels. Now can you...
Hold on, come on, you're going crazy right now. Caught up in emotion. We're still on Eve right now. Caught up in emotion. And yes, women do move off emotion. Men try not to because they know emotions can make them feel soft. They don't want to feel soft. They have to be masculine to put on an act in front of a woman. Because if they do get too emotional, the woman sees this man as soft. And some men know this. So they try to act hard all the time. But it's like you have to have a soft side to a certain degree, but not too much. Burning up in her devotion to the king of exploitation in the field. But what king are we talking about? You ain't see a king in Adam. So she moved off the emotion because she got turned down one day, thinking that she's bisexual. So she was so men and women, of course. And because of that, a king was exploiting people in his field, and she liked that because how are you able to get people to follow your commands, basically, or your orders? You're influential. So she handed him her virtue. Because of that, he told her, I won't hurt you. That's a typical nigga line. Niggas will say, I will never hurt you. They're lying to you. I will hurt you by telling you the truth. But she lived in her mind, she was already deluded because she believed that Lucifer was so intellectual. She was blinded by the pride and the greed, like she stated earlier. And because of that, by him being intellectual, by him having looks and all that, by him being such a light, because when she looks at him, her eyes light up because she's intrigued by the light that he exudes through his intellectual capabilities or tendencies. And she lay with him to see how good it feels. What does that mean? Why are you laying up with a man that's not Adam? Doesn't matter because he lived in the back of your mind. He's a theory to your evolution because you're becoming a better woman every single day by experiencing different men to find your intellectual capabilities, because you are born submissive from your dominance. So you are dominated by men to find out what dominance feels like inside of you. Ooh. Check your pants after this video. To my ladies out there that are of age, not you, young man. Pause. Alright. But yeah, so basically, and on top of that, once again, so let's go to that Jacob's ladder too. We're not gonna read this just yet, but that's just basically the rumps. I think that's what it's called. Did I put that in there? Ramps or rumps? I read that. But oh yeah, the rung. Each rung. There we go. I said rumps. But rung. The rung is the thing that you climb on a ladder. It's the horizontal step, basically. But as you're stepping, the higher you go to Jacob's ladder is the ladder to enlightenment. So level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like in your mind, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's an elevator effect. The more you keep climbing, and that's basically your age as well. But you can be on the level physically of your age, but mentally you can go beyond Jacob's ladder to the point to where you don't have to climb the top of the ladder no more, because you know at the top of that ladder is your consciousness. through a Christ frequency that you practice every single day. Meaning that every single day you are climbing the ladder to consciousness, because you can reach the Christ frequency, but it's still a rabbit hole. Meaning that you will never know that frequency till you die, but you can live in it for a temporary period of time physically.
Tell me what we gonna do now? Where we gonna go now? What we gonna say now? Now can you tell me what we gonna do now? Where we gonna go now? What we gonna say now? Now after the sensation and the empty fornication, she brought affection home into her bed, quickly multiplying.
Off the muscle. And these are her lyrics, by the way. So you cannot sit here and get mad. I'm just using discernment. Now after the sensation and the empty fornication, she brought affection home into her bed, quickly multiplying. After she had a good sensation within her physical sense, the fornication that they had was empty, so it meant nothing because Lucifer left, because he was just that intellectual. He had other options because he could do what he wanted. Eve, she wasn't really going to be satisfied no matter how much the atoms in her bed kept multiplying, because once again, this man lived in theory, especially the woman as well, because she tried to satisfy her intellectual mind with women, but it just wasn't enough, because she wanted the theory from Adam. She wanted that masculine side, but after that sensation, it was just empty fornication ever since then, because nobody would be like Adam. There's always that man that was in his Christ frequency when he had nothing, but she wanted to go find something else. And it started with the Garden of Eden.
Now the three of them are dying by the poison she perceived to be good. Now even her husband, perverted in their judgment, 'cause everything appeared to be the same. They entertain suggestions, next time just use protection, desiring to cover up their shame.
Could be polygamy. Now three of them are dying, meaning that basically a threesome. So basically, damn near close to an orgy. Who knows how many were in their relationship? But the thing is too, damn, it's still a form of incest the way it goes. And they're just doing it with themselves. And by the poison she received to be good, so somebody was infected by somebody, meaning that Lucifer was sleeping around with other Liliths and Jezebels and other succubus, combining them together. And then now even her husband are perverted in their judgment, because for one, she was blinded by pride and greed, and because of that, she was also inverted, because she gave her life up to God, or Lucifer, the Baphomet, whatever you want to call it, and they entertain suggestion. I suggest you do that or do that, and they just feed into it. Next time, just use protection, because somebody suggested it, but they were doing it raw, because they wanted to feel the physical form or the sensation that they were living in, but they were perverted in their judgment. Because for one, once again, marriage, like I stated earlier, Eve and her husband are perverted, meaning that she had a husband, but she still couldn't treat him right, because she was still having empty fornication. There was not an Adam that could live in her theoretical delusion that she was trying to find intellectual patterns in. No man could make her think the way Adam did, in theory. That's where he lives. And so, desiring to cover up their shame. So she was shameful. And of course, our women, our men walk around with shame as well. They would do nothing about it. Nothing. Because they live in ignorance.
So much to their demise, for the sin and close their eyes, to the very antidote to their dilemma. Burning in their lusts, both of them adulterate. agenda. Bring to the sky in order to maintain life.
So, to their demise, so they were already praying to their dominion in Satan's kingdom because they already knew they fucked up. They made a promise to the Almighty, they couldn't live up to it, and now they have cursed their bloodline and the children that have came with it, which is us today, because a poor decision closed their eyes, meaning that they had sex with their eyes closed because they knew, Eve knew it was wrong for what she was doing to Adam. She knew that she was committed to him, but left him for Lucifer, and when she was laying down with Lucifer, poor decision closed their eyes to be very antidote to their dilemma, burning in their lust. Both of them adulterous, meaning that Lucifer was committed to someone and Satan was committed to someone as well. But it destroyed the original agenda. As on the angelic side, this is exactly where we became demonic because of this right here. And all this is a love story of lust. This is that simple too. So she still beat the story. Like that's 3 keys. She stated before the song started, and then virtually real. And then Animals in Theory, that's really 4. She's dropping bars. Burning in lust. This story is really about loving and lust. And what's crazy? A 5th key point. This is nothing but entertainment for Nephilim. Or principalities, fallen angels, meaning these different deities, these ETs that we covered earlier, they need to be entertained by humans having their trial. So what do? They made up atoms evolving. So they spliced our DNA and they grew us up, evolved us, molded us through their experimentation of the mind, put it into a vessel or a costume, placed a soul into it. Here you go. Now we got programs called lust. We just made a word up and then we practiced the program. And then they were praying. They didn't know that they were the God within themselves because nobody taught them what God was. So they figured that if you pray to the sky, you know, you can maintain this lie. Like this lie won't come to the surface, but you're still lying to yourself because there's no God up there. Even if God was up there, why are you up there when you're down here praying to your higher self?
Exhausted every possible conclusion. They can't even entertain the solution in the brain filled with vain information and pollution. Hiding from the truth, he provided an excuse to explain away his desperate situation. When confronted, blamed his wife.
Alright, we're almost done. Damn, it's a long ass song, boy. But it don't have to be as long. I could have been ended it, but it's all good. Alright. So they had a conclusion. So yeah, they basically exhausted any conclusion on how to stop this shit. But they couldn't entertain the solution in the brain because their problems were so strong. They had no opportunities into how to make this marriage work. And they're filled with vain information and pollution, so their mind is so polluted, they didn't want to come up with any information into why they were cheating on each other and making poor decisions with their eyes closed. And they were hiding from the truth. He provided an excuse to explain away his desperate situation. This could be Adam or Lucifer doing this. But either way it goes, when confronted, blamed his wife. Same shit a nigga gonna do. So no matter how enlightened this man seems or is perceived, she's still going to remember that you are a theory in her mind, and of course you're doing what your prototype or your nature is, so you're going to blame your wife for your lack of accountability as a man. So that makes you even more soft as a man because you won't take up ownership for what you did, for your decisions. And that's what blinds you, and that's what blinds a woman as well, because we have to be able to tell the truth no matter what. So if you made a wrong decision, you have to live with it. That's your fault. And you can't blame a woman for it because she will be at fault as well.
Refusing to acknowledge what he done. Now, if we can't agree with who created us to be, who says we're guilty, everyone before his eyes, making no exception.
And ever since then, ever since evolution did what they did, or did what she did, because of Lucifer, because our deadbeat dads are basically Lucifer, but they don't, now since they have gotten older, they have done themselves down to become Satan because they didn't have any love, because all they cared about love, they only cared about love when they were having empty fornication. Now we give birth to demonic programs, or 666. But if you want to have a Christ lineage or bloodline, you have to become at the Christ frequency. You have to live there, reside there, procreate with a feminine divinity, and then y'all will have a 999 instead of a 666, but it's still inverted or whatever the case may be. And then giving birth to demons, basically. So after they were making poor decisions and having affairs and still creating life, it was carnal after that. So we grew up in trauma because of our mother and our father's decision making, refusing to acknowledge what he done. So Satan or Lucifer. Now we can't agree with who created us to be, who says we're guilty, everyone before his eyes. Meaning that we can't even agree with who created us, because they probably had an argument too, like how did we even get here? But we can't come to a middle ground with who created us, because we don't even know who the creator is. But we know that we're created by a creator. But who's that creator? We calling it God, but I wouldn't call it God. So now we're in a disagreement, and now we're arguing for no reason. Alright. And who says we're guilty? Everyone before his eyes. So yeah, who says that me having sex outside my marriage is wrong? Who said that? What if it feels right to me, so am I right for feeling this way? And whoever my creator is programmed me to feel this way. So am I wrong for feeling this way? Am I wrong for questioning my creator on why you're making me feel like this in my nature when I have a wife at home? Making no exceptions since the day of our conception, literally. And then predisposed to hating truth and loving lies. So we hated to hear what the truth was, and that came from a man or a woman. We hated to hear, a woman saying to us that she does not want to be committed to us and she'd rather just move on with somebody else. Men hate hearing that shit. Men, and actually women don't want to hear that you are talking to 10 other girls when she wants to be the only one in your life. They don't want to hear that shit. And many people hate hearing the truth because it hurts. And no matter what the truth looks like, people hate seeing what that looks like because it makes them, it basically reveals to them what accountability should look like, and they don't want to look like that.
Can you tell me what we gonna do now? Where we gonna go now? What we gonna say now? Now can you tell me what we gonna do now? Where we gonna go now? What we gonna say now? Stop walking in pride. Let the thief be crucified. Unlearn everything you know and let him teach you.
I'm talking to Eve and Adam. Alright, so stop walking in pride, literally, because you feel as if you can do it by yourself, you're independent, but let the thief be crucified, meaning that the person that robbed you of your love, of your joy, of your spirituality, just you, let their title, let their memory be crucified from your mindset. Unlearn everything that you know from him and from you in that past moment currently that you live in, and let a new Adam teach you what you think you know about yourself, what you don't know, either way it goes. Learn from that. Stop being so prideful about what you think you know, because you don't know everything and he don't know everything either. But if you do your own research, if you move with love and kill the past, you can build for your future right now.
Line upon line, and precept upon precept. Say goodbye to this decaying social system. He wants to know how far we're willing to go. If we love him like we say we do, he'll try us. Just you don't regress or submit to hopelessness. Once he's satisfied his love, he won't deny us. And they'll tell us what we gonna do now. Where we gonna go now? What we gonna say now? And they don't tell us what.
Well, so let me see. say goodbye to this decaying social system. He wants to know how far we're willing to go. We don't really gotta get into that. But that right there's an indication of, Adam lives in theory. And hopefully you took notes on this right here. And then if we go to this, the serpent symbolizes a sexual energy. As humans, we are tended to release our sexual energy through desire and lust. In metaphorical words, the serpent energy of knowledge of good and evil is tempting us to eat the forbidden fruit, meaning to release our sacred fluids. And so you can say feminine right brain, masculine left brain, doesn't even matter. But the thing is, I feel like these are nothing but psychedelics anyways, because the apple does not know it's an apple. And because of that, I do believe that this is your sexual energy as well, because once you release yourself from your higher self, that's when you descend and you figure out like, oh shit, we're naked. Oh shit, we don't have clothes on. So now you cover yourself up, and they weren't white as well. But either way it goes, this form, these two forms right here will make you do stupid things, because you're not able to actually see what you're eating or what you're releasing yourself into. And once you move in these two titles right here, you'll be programmed into releasing yourself from your higher self, and you won't be able to figure out the tip of the iceberg anymore. And you'll be losing your higher self, and you won't know what God you are worshiping. So if you are in same intention, you are pleasing the Almighty creation to a spiritual sense. But if you release yourself and you're physically pleasing yourself, you might as well be praying to God for forgiveness. Can't make this shit up, man. And so, of course, even with hell, is where it starts to in your gut. Once you clean this up, you'll be able to find heaven as well, because the things you eat are not meant for you to be eating, even what you drink. And the thing is, too, if you are not able to shit, a lot of these things will be sitting. And this is where a lot of our tapeworms and a lot of our ringworms and different parasites live. And they're literally extracting our energy, our frequency, our consciousness, and their solar plexus in our brain right here as well. You got crown, heart, solar plexus, and your root chakra. And so because of that, they'll also attack the Garden of Eden, and you won't be able to climb up these ladders because you'll be descended down here. And if you're descended below that, if you don't got this in check, or this in check, you're done. Alright, this represents a connection between the physical and the divine. It's a symbol for the soul to ascend towards higher consciousness. The ladder in Jacob's dream, the dream you still have, is a bridge and a crosswalk between Kemet and heaven. It realizes a stage of spiritual evolution, self-realization, and enlightenment. It's also an allegory for our soul's journey. The angels that are ascending and descending on the ladder indicate the everlasting stream of conscious or divine energy and guidance between the material world and the higher spiritual realms. Each rung of the ladder is a level of consciousness or a plane of existence that the dreamer must traverse, realizing then shedding layers of ego and illusion to reach closer to the divine source. The ladder also reflects the alignment of our chakras. Each rung corresponds with a specific energy center in the body, starting from the root and transcending to the crown. The vision of Jacob's ladder welcomes the dreamer to find themselves on a personal ascent, paying attention to the inner awareness and aligning with our cosmic order of ordered species. In conclusion, you will merge with your individual self and your universal consciousness. Literally. And then, lastly, human programming trial, so we can learn from our planned mistakes. Alright, trial of self-knowledge, understanding one's own nature, limitations, and potential. Trial of materialism, overcoming attachment to material possessions and wealth. Trial of wisdom, gaining and applying wisdom through experiences and learning. Trial of compassion, developing empathy and compassion towards others. Trial of faith, testing and strengthening spiritual or personal beliefs. Trial of overcoming fear, facing and overcoming deep-seated fears and anxieties. Trial of integrity, maintaining moral and ethical standards in challenging situations. Trial of service, engaging in acts of service and selflessness for the benefit of others. Trial of forgiveness, learning to forgive oneself and others. Trial of transformation, undergoing personal or spiritual transformation and growth. When you learn to go through all these trials in your mind, then you'll truly begin to see that It's all a dream. It's all a fantasy that you live in. So what we need is reality. You need to check yourself at the door before you enter any relationship, and you need to be able to heal yourself, because if you don't, you will be a thought in this woman's mind. You'll be a thought in this man's mind, and they'll move on and multiply from empty fornication to where you'll be living in a virtual reality that you deem as real, and then you'll be perverting your judgment, because all you're moving off of is a burning desire of lust that you want a sensation temporarily to please yourself in, because you know that it's the person that you were first with in your trials wasn't really you. It's what you weren't really going through, which is exactly why you had to be able to self-knowledge. You had to know yourself, get rid of materials. You have to find more wisdom, be compassionate, have faith in the Almighty Creator and what you're going through, overcoming fear of new relationships or new bonds. Integrity. Don't sell yourself short for somebody else's pleasure. Child of service. You know, it's like, how are you giving benefit to others as well besides yourself? Forgiving yourself in all different transformations. Once you do all these different things, you'll be able to grow. You'll be able to heal the atoms, and you'll be able to evolve in a better you. Meaning, like, you really have to basically heal your body. You have to be able to heal the mind, heal the liver, heal the kidneys, heal the heart, heal your lungs, heal your esophagus, heal your gut, heal your hearts, heal your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit. You have to heal your whole physical consciousness. Like, forget what you thought you knew. Relearn so that you can learn new things to find the heaven consciousness on top of your mind. And then once you spiritually evolve, then the person that you were in the past was a theoretical opinion that you thought you had about yourself. Today, who are you? What new Adam are you evolving into? Who are you becoming? Who are you loving yourself as today? And what are you doing to better yourself for tomorrow? How will you evolve tomorrow for today? No matter what, love is going to hurt. It has to hurt. But when you are going through this hurtful phase of yourself, what are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? Grown women, grown men gonna do what they do. But no matter what, how will you love yourself better than what they try to love you as, or what they try to love you in? I love you. Have a great day, God and Goddess.